Hello. Good morning. Alright, now we're going to get into the other side of where Union and United States government is messing with the people. Alright, look at the health system right now. Right now, the health system isn't good. Everyone that rolls out of the health system either is doped up on some type of drug or they're diagnosing people, putting labels on people, saying, hey, you got depression, you got manic depression. And every time you go to one of their doctors, it's like you sit there and you talk to them about your problems and whatnot, hearing this from other people. And it's a lot of people say it's like it doesn't get through to their head. One, I can put it this way: when you have a problem inside your mind with your thoughts about something that goes on, the best thing to do in a lot of areas is if you can get over the problem, then it's best to move out of that area. The hard part of it is the United States government making it hard to move around. But anyway, back to the point, and I'll try to stick to this point more than some of the other ones, which I skipped over after reviewing it. I mean, you go to every hospital, and the first thing they say, oh, you need a mental evaluation. Let me put it this way to the doctors and nurses. I'm pretty sure there's some out there that actually care about people, but at the same time, I'm going to say this. If we're spending $88 billion to, let's say, what was it? $200 million on healthcare just because 3/4 of the population has a mental problem, then maybe we should look at it from this angle. Going into the FBI narcotics and tobacco region, one, it states as law that when you drive a motor vehicle, you cannot drive under the influence of any type of drug. Alright, so right there is one problem. Because a lot of people, going up to 5/8 of the people, because the other ones are too old to drive or don't want to drive, are driving around with what they call illegal substance, which, if you know anything about drugs and the word definition by the word drugs, nothing's legal when you get behind the wheel or when you handle a firearm or anything like that. But back to the point, you walk in, the first thing they do, give you a mental evaluation, and then you sit there and they start prescribing drugs to you and stuff, and it's like you see that little abbreviation MG. Now there's two forms of that abbreviation right now. There's megagrams, which it normally stands for, and there's milligrams, which is the MGG. Or MMGG. There is both of those. But anyway, it's MMG, which stands for milligrams, which is the correct abbreviation, because then you know you're not... Okay, now let's really get back to the point of where I'm going with this. Alright, if you look into all these so-called courts, and let me explain something to you about the word courts. Courts pretty much stand for not a justice system. And as you saw probably last night, I posted something, not to piss people off, but guess what? You guys will be going through this. But anyway, now that, like over 20,000 lawsuits went through against certain doctors and whatnot, pharmaceuticals, and everything, you kind of look at it, okay, what side of the measure scale are they following? Are they following megagrams? Are they following MMG, which is milligrams? or are they just doing what they want? I can put it this way right now. A lot of these pills that some of these people are taking are way too much. That and the fillers they use on them aren't good. Not healthy for you. You could take Prozac and next thing you're sodium deficient or you're salt deficient or you're hypertensive. Well, you're going to be hypertensive if you're on something like that. So they say, oh, we got this regulated, but every 5 seconds to every 5 years you hear about another laboratory, another pill maker screwing up somewhere, this recall, that recall, and you turn around and all these, it seems like all these hospitals, all they want to do is pop you on pills. And I mean, if opium's bad for you, now opium's a high-powered narcotic, as they say, but I wouldn't say narcotic because the definition of narcotic is someone who is narcissism, or narcissism is also a narcissist. So you got to ask yourself this good question. I mean, are you making killers and murderers out of people because the doctor put 3 pills too many, or are you just sitting back and saying, oh, because the book here and the author says you need to take X amount of pills? I mean, that a doctor can't do that. I mean, if you got your master's degree in being an MD, which is a bachelor's, actually 8 years, but and you're listening to a book, you're an idiot, because you're like I said, you're responsible for it no matter what. If you start looking over in the European countries, you won't see this problem as much because they don't tolerate hospitals, they don't tolerate drugs, and so forth. A lot of problems that people have, oh, I hear voices and stuff and everything. It's like, no, it's not the drugs. No, I'll tell you that. It might be helping you a little bit, but it's not the drugs. Once again, you go back into where religion, what's the part inside with religion, because you start talking about SEPARATE of SOUL, or the word soul actually stands for the representation of life, as some people like to put that in religious terms and in occult terms. And then you hear voices. It's like, this voice is telling me to do this. This voice is telling me to do that. Well, in my position as being an air king, that would tell me one very good. I mean, this is the hardest hint that you're ever gonna get to go as maybe a COP or a customs agent or an FBI, British Interpol. They're either using subliminal messages, or you got people repeating stuff by reiteration to other people. There's a few different ways to do this. First off, you turn around and you get in an argument over a definition. So let's just pick on the word sex and copulation. Copulation often means to get, or sex means pretty much 2 individuals going at it sexually. And even though it's an invalid definition, I'm going to say it that way for the fact of keeping it low, not making an X-rated video. But anyway, copulation also means another thing. It stands for the point of 2 things instead of 2 people, male and female, or as people know it, a regular person. It also means animals. It means other things that copulate. But at the same time, normally it'll be either a person or they'll get pissed and yell at you about it to the point it sticks in your head. Then all of a sudden your brain will turn around and you'll start getting worried, and then you'll start looking at things and looking at definitions and start questioning yourself and whatnot. And right there, that's the point they got you. Because at this point in time, if they can get you on the definition of things to believe the false definition, then you are going to have a problem later on down the future, because the real definition should always stand as a real definition. And that's how they get you a lot of times. Now, whether or not you can really separate someone's life from something else, the other method they like to use to talk to people is you find Mary X. And Mary X died, let's say, 1685. Someone really does their homework, and now your real name is Mary W. Okay. Not gonna put last names to stuff, but anyway, the point of it is they'll dig up the dead person that you used to be, which you didn't take care of, which you should have. You should have incinerated it. Actually, it should have been incinerated before you came back. But if that's the case, but anyway, they'll sit there and they'll talk to you, and they'll try to wake your other dead half up. And most of the time they say, "Well, didn't you just say that people come back?" Well, there's a few different ways of coming back. When you have assumed people in positions such as a queen, prince, a princess, like a prince and princess can't wake anyone up that's dead. But anyway, when you have people doing stuff they shouldn't be doing, a priest can't wake you up, I can tell you that. The Pope can't wake you up when you're dead to come back. It's something that naturally happens. And so if you're going to come back, you won't end up in that graveyard, but at times, there's times you end up in the graveyard, lead race graveyard, being buried. To where it's like, why didn't I come back? Well, not everyone knows what they're doing when it comes down to getting punished for stuff and how to handle people who pass away. Some people, some people just want to sleep and they don't want to deal with things. And they are innocent people. That's the other problem, because you can't just bury them. The other point of it is people coming up right now who are dead, people out there waking people up, people taking dead bodies as trophies. If you watch the series Warehouse 13, in the one series, the girl has a dead body in her home. And they asked if it was real, and the girl's like, yeah. There's like, okay. Lawfully, if that's a real body, you ain't allowed to even have that on a movie set. And whatnot. Where the movies, they got busted for stealing cadavers out of Harvard and Princeton's laboratory, or out of their classrooms where kids were dissecting cadavers. But anyway, let's get back to the point. All these, in correlation, two things can represent into a huge problem for people mentally. Now, what I like to do is, if they're mentally torturing you, turn around and, just smile and crack jokes inside your mind and your thoughts, and it will piss them off more than, taking the Prozac or taking the Mellaril or taking Barbutrin or Zoloft or anything like that, which Zoloft is actually an illegal term in medicine because it represents a certain name in the past, and medical companies were warned about using the word Zoloft because it was actually a person's name. So pretty much this is where I'm going to stop with this. But now you know how doctors operate, because I've been around the hospitals long enough to sit down and listen to what they're saying, and it ain't good. You gotta They say we have an 88% outcome of people getting better. No, if they're on drugs, medication, legal drugs, they're striving to take illegal drugs, which, let's see, 70, I won't say 76. Actually, I would say 76 of the population in the United States, it likes to smoke marijuana, tobacco. Nothing wrong with that, but the United States says it's illegal, but every politician in the White House and the Pentagon and FBI and CIA, they smoke up. Trust me, I got videos of you guys doing that stuff. Good day.